Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we're going to be talking about footwork and movement. Okay, and for those of you just coming along, what we're trying to do here is that basically we're looking to sword and buckler, historical sword and buckler material to try and recreate medieval shield fighting. Okay, so with the sword and buckler, when we look at both I-33 and Talhofer, we see that sometimes during the attack, okay, the sword leg is leading, and sometimes the buckler leg is leading. So either leg can lead. Okay, we generally do not see any images of anybody with their feet standing side by side. Okay, so let's talk about that. If I strike, okay, let's say I'm out of measure. But first of all, let's talk about the distances. Okay, there's three distances. There's in range, okay, or in measure, where basically all I have to do is extend my sword and I can hit you, and likewise you can hit me. Okay, there's engagement range, where basically I can't hit you, but with one step I can hit you, and likewise with one step you can hit me. Okay, so that's our engagement range. Okay, and then there's out of range. Okay, out of range, it takes more than one step for me to be able to hit you and for you to be able to hit me. Now, out of range, basically you can do whatever footwork you want. It does not matter. You're out of range. The only time that becomes an issue is if you misjudge the distance and you think that you're out of range when in fact you are in range. Okay, and that can get kind of tricky if you're using unmatched weapons. Okay, like a sword and buckler versus spear or something. That can get a little tricky. Okay. So now let's talk about footwork. Basically, and I'm going to skip some of the. Not skip. I'm going to go rather quickly through some of the basics as I'm talking. Basically, if you're here watching this channel, you pretty much have some idea of basic footwork. Okay, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about that. Okay, so as we come into measure, if we lead with our sword leg, right, so as I come into measure, right, let's say I start off with, I'm out of measure, I'm leading with my buckler leg. As I come into measure, I step forward. Now all of a sudden I'm leading with my sword leg. Okay, now from this position here, okay, the next most likely step that I will make, if I make a step, will be with my left leg. So basically, it will be a lateral step to the left. Okay, so if I come into measure and if I'm leading with my right leg, the next most likely thing that will happen is as I step, I will then be leading with my left leg. So my second attack, right? So once I come into measure, that's my first attack. My second attack, okay, if it involves a step, is most likely going to be a flanking move to the left. Okay, because I'm leading with my right leg here. Okay, the easiest thing for me to do is go to the left. As I come into measure, if I'm leading with my right leg, okay, if I want to continue moving with my right leg, the best I can do is make a gathering step, okay, which is fine, but we have to realize that that gathering step forward, is not going to cover a whole lot of ground, and you really can't use it to power a shot, to power a strike. Doesn't mean that you can't make a strike, okay, because I can use other parts of my body to make a strike. However, with the sword and the buckler, okay, because basically I'm relying on my sword for so much defense, once I come into measure, I really can't leave the bind. I have to basically work, like this. I cannot basically bring my sword back, because once I leave that bind, it's too easy for me to get hit. While I'm resetting back here, I'm leaving myself open to an incoming blow. So with the sword and buckler, what will typically happen is when we enter the bind, okay, we're usually fighting, we're making small movements. Right? If I take the buckler away and I'm fighting single sword, I'm basically keeping the the strong part of my sword in front of my body and attacking with the tip. Okay, and then basically the buckler just adds some added defense. Okay, so even if it's a thrust or whatever, basically all that has to stay together. The sword has to stay in front of us. So for that reason, if I'm going to make a step, okay, it will most likely be a lateral step to the left side, and then after I've made that step, okay, it is most likely I will make a step to the right side. Okay, so that's something for us to be aware of. Let me put the buckler down now, and let's talk about the shield, okay, and how footwork affects the shield. Now, one of the things you probably noticed is with the buckler, it's easy for you to see my legs, so you know which leg is leading, okay? And if I'm going to make a hard, aggressive step, you know to which side I'm going to make it. So if I'm leading with my right leg, okay, and you can see my leg, you know that the next, if I make a hard, aggressive step, it will most likely be to the left side. Likewise, if I come into measure and I'm leading with my left leg, if I make a hard, aggressive step, it will most likely be towards the right. However, with the full-size shield, you can't see my legs. My shield, I mean, you can still see parts of my legs maybe if you're far enough back, but once we get into engagement range and we're fighting, okay, it's really hard for you to see what my feet are doing, both because of my shield and also because of your shield. Your shield is also preventing you from seeing what my feet are doing. What that means is that you're depending on other parts of my body to try and figure out what my feet are doing. So maybe, you know, if you see my arm back like this, you probably think if my shoulder's back, my right foot is back, okay, which means if I make a hard, aggressive step, I'm going to go to the right. Or if you see this, okay, now basically you see more of my shoulder, you know that my right leg is leading. So if I'm going to make a hard, aggressive step, it's going to be to the left side, okay? Now here's the thing. In all advanced fighting is about deception. So when I fight, okay, I try to keep my upper body the same, okay, and basically if I do step forward like I just did, my upper body does not move. So if I step back, okay, and I open up, okay, what I have done is basically my shoulder's still back and I've twisted my body a little bit, okay. What's happening is I only have one corner here, right? I have one corner to cover my legs. So basically only one leg can be forward at a time. Now, if the only time that changes is if you have something like a Scutum or a square shield where you have two corners, now you can sit in a, you know, like in a horse stance. But with most other shields, only one leg can be forward. So here's how things now get interesting. As I am here, right, I enter measure and we're fighting, okay, all right, pay attention to my legs, okay. When I entered measure, basically he saw that he probably got a glimpse of my legs as I was entering. He saw I was leading with my sword leg. So because I am leading with my sword leg, he knows if I'm going to make a strong flanking movement, it will probably be to the right side, okay. I can still get to the left side, okay. If you look at my, basically I'm making a, I can still get there, but I can't keep going. I mean, that's kind of awkward. There's only so many steps I can make to the left, and only so fast that I can get there if I'm leading with my left leg. Likewise, if I come in and I'm leading with my right leg, okay, he expects that my next step, right, will be a flanking movement at some point to the left side, okay, because I can more easily move to the left side, okay. He does not expect me to make a strong movement to the right, okay. I mean, I can step a little bit, but that's as far as I can go. Basically then it's a slow, I can keep doing that very slowly, but so it's easier for me if I'm leading with my right leg. It's easier for me to move to the left side. Likewise, if I'm leading with my left side leg, it's easier for me to attack to the right side, okay. Now here's the thing, all advanced fighting is about deception. So as I come into measure, okay, I know that once I get into engagement range, he really can't see what's going on with my feet. He's paying more attention to my upper body, to my arms, to see where I'm striking. As I come into measure, okay, I'm striking him here, okay. Now watch my feet. As I am moving around, I just switched my feet. I did not move my upper body, okay. So he still thinks that I'm leading with my left legs, And at this point, what I'll do at some point is I'll throw my shield just a little bit that way. Okay, that's at this point he thinks I'm about to flank to the left, so I will throw my shield there and then come around to the left side. Okay, so basically I am disguising my footwork. Okay, likewise if I come into measure, okay, and I've got my right foot forward, I can throw a couple of shots here, and as I'm throwing my shots, I can switch my foot position. Okay, you know, he expects I can move to my left. Meanwhile, because I just switched my foot position, I'm in a position to make a strong strike to the right. Okay, so that's one of the things to be aware with footwork with relation to the full-size shield. The shield covers the position of our feet. Okay, and based on what people see in our feet, okay, they have certain expectations. If I'm leading left, they expect I'll make a strong movement to the right. If I'm leading with my right, they expect a strong movement to the left. I can use my shield to hide which foot is leading, okay, and then basically, you know, at will basically move to the opposite side of what people are expecting. Okay, so that is a good use of footwork and using the shield to cover up your footwork. What's important is that at any given time, that corner has to be covering your leg. Okay, so it doesn't matter which leg is forward. If I'm in this position, okay, that's covering my leg. If I move here, that's covering my leg. Okay, now, you know, I may basically, you know, one of the options is I can either move the shield over to my leg. Okay, let me step back so you can see more. So right now my shield is behind my leg. Okay, as I step forward now, okay, what happened there? I didn't move my shield. What I did is I moved my leg position. I stepped my leg behind the shield. So, see, shield is not moving. But what's happening is I'm moving my leg in such a way that as I move, it stays behind that corner. Okay, so that's another thing to be aware of. Okay, you can even move, you know, because the other option would have been as I step to actually shift the shield over in order to cover my right leg. So either way is fine. Basically, either, you know, shield has to, the leg has to stay behind the shield. Okay. Now, whether you can either move the shield over, or, you know, as you move, or you can move the leg behind the shield as you move. And of course, as I said a few minutes ago, if you're keeping your shield somewhat stationary and you're moving your leg behind the shield, they don't know which leg is leading at any given time. So that gives you an option to move left or right, okay, to make strong lateral movements that way. The other thing to be aware of, I'll pick up the buckle for this so you can see more. If I'm standing in a position like this, okay, if you're going to make a flanking movement around me, right, from where you are there to, let's say, to get to this position there, that's a full 3 steps for you. Okay, just by pivoting, I can cover that position. Okay, so pivoting takes a lot less energy than stepping. Okay, so that's one of the things to be aware of as we're fighting, okay, and we're trying to get around somebody. You know, be aware that trying to like circle around somebody takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot more energy for you to try to get around somebody than it takes for them to just pivot, you know, and get their defense in the right position. So it is for this reason that when I fight shield, I mean, yes, I use flanking movements, but they're usually very minimal. Okay, if I can't get around that corner, right, because I'm basically trying to get around that corner and that corner. If I can't get around that corner with a 6-inch step, I'm not going to get around it, okay? Because here's the thing: if I try to make a huge movement, they're going to see that, okay? If I try to, you know, and they're just going to pivot. If I'm striking, okay, and I make a subtle movement of maybe just 6 inches, all right, you know, especially if I cover it with a shot, they may not see that, okay? So I don't know if you guys are seeing that, but as I'm striking here, boom, boom, and there's my step, okay? Small 6-inch step allows me to get past this corner. So small movements are a lot more effective than big movement, which is a part of the reason when you see experienced fighters, they look like they're basically almost squaring up to each other, like they're going face to face, and they're not really moving around each other too much, but in fact they are. It's just that the movements that they're doing are 6 inches, 12 inches max, okay? They're trying to use really minimal movements to try and deceive their opponent into thinking that they've not moved. So basically you want to move without making it look like you moved, okay? So there's my thoughts on footwork and movement with the sword and shield. If you guys got any questions or comments, please post them. If you're not a member, subscribe. Look forward to seeing you guys next time.